precious little paw prints you left in my heart, my soul, my life.
Then everyone,
all the world knows the love you shine so bright on me remains
immortal.
And now I reflect, I hold no regrets, for everywhere I go, you are there. Like sunshine pierced the rain, the warmth you radiate shows us the way,
And brightens our day.
every moment is crystallized in time and here to stay.
Forever
I pray for you. My dreams all came true when I had you there to put on through. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, safe from the storm. And it's long as I hold you close inside, what I know, that everything will be alright. As the setting sun descends, the marmalade hue reminds me of you.
walking home from the show.
'Tis the season, watching family strolling through the snow.
Bringing gifts home.
I sit by the tree, your great legacy. It's all I need on Christmas Eve. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, safe from the storm. And it's long as I hold you close inside, what I know, that everything will be alright. Yes, I know everything will be alright.
We'll be right with you guys. We're just setting up.
Precious little paw prints you left in my heart, my soul, my life.
Then everyone,
All the world knows the love you shine so bright on me remains.
immortal,
And now I reflect, I hold no regrets. For everywhere I go, you are there. Like sunshine pierced the rain, the warmth you radiate shows us the way.
and brightens our day.
Every moment is crystallized in time and here to stay.
Forever,
I pray for you. My dreams all came true when I had you there to put on through. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, safe from the storm. And it's long as I hold you close inside. Well, I know that everything will be alright. As the setting sun descends, marmalade hue reminds me of you.
walking home from the show.
'Tis the season, watching family strolling through the snow.
Bringing gifts home.
I sit by the tree, your great legacy is all I need on Christmas Eve. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, the storm. And as long as I hold you close inside, well, I know that everything will be alright. Yes, I know everything will be alright.
How's that? Yeah?
Yeah. So do you want these stuff, or we can just pick it up?
It's squiff, but I can fix that. Okay. No, other way. Oh, do you want to mute that
Yeah.
Facebook feed?
Oh.
Oh. Okay, good evening everybody. Well, that's too high, isn't it?
I'll do
Just
Right, you sit down.
so I got it. There we go, perfect. Good evening everybody. So, chapter 4, the Bobmobile tonight. With Chewbacca and myself. We've got a new couch, that's why we're late. So, as you can see, we've got a black couch, compliments of is that picture a bit blurry? Is it blurry
That
on the
one's
lights?
blurry, but that one's not. That's good. And that one's good.
That's the feed then.
Which one's gonna they see that one?
It's probably our feed, you know, it's probably our feed that's blurry. I don't know if people are seeing it that blurry at
This
home.
one's good. That's good.
Yeah, well, if it's going out, that should be fine like that. Let us know in the comments if you've got a blurry image. It's frozen on that one. You need to refresh that by the looks of it.
Which one? This one?
Oh, wow. No, it's frozen at home. It's frozen on our feed by the looks of it.
Yeah. Now this. No, they're both.
Oh, no, I was just very still. That's what it was. All right. Okay, let's see. Okay, do you want to start giving any shout outs there before we get started?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone.
So you
by
need to
the
roll
way.
back to the top of the comments. Bring your thing up to there. Yeah, that's it. And just use the mouse wheel to roll to the top of those comments. There you go. There you are. Click the bar. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to read that?
No, that's my one. You can skip that one.
Okay. Esther. Hi James. I'm ready to listen to the new chapter. Smiley
Cool
face.
stuff. Good evening, Esther. We got. I didn't send out your cufflinks yet, but I'm going to do them all on the beginning of the month. Tomorrow is the first, along with we've got all the big issues that we sent out a lot of big issues, and including to people who had requested refunds. So I mean, it's up to them if they would be kind enough to reimburse me. Hold on, am I reading the right book? The Bobmobile is chapter 4. No, hold on. The world according to Bob. Hold on. Yeah, no, hold on. Chapter 3, the Bob. Yeah, no, chapter 3. I've read chapter 4
Should
in
we do a
the.
couple more though before we start?
Yeah, no, keep going, keep going.
David Taylor. Hi James.
Hello, David.
Taff is streaming tonight.
Just if they're saying hi, just say their name and keep
Okay.
going through the list.
Angela, she sent 100 stars. Hello James.
Thank you, Angela.
Anne Park. Hi James. Love the song.
Keep going.
Ali Corn. Tuning in live from Brisbane, Australia. Been through a few days. Lots of flooding to have a Jones update. It's good. Distraction, lots of love.
Hello, Ali. Brisbane. I hope everything's okay there. Floods, wow. That's some severity that you don't need to deal with. Good vibes to you. I hope everything works out, guys. And glad to be your distraction if it helps.
Helen Bobite. Hi James.
Hello, Helen. How you doing? Yes, working too much. That's me as well. Go on then. Who else we got? If you got the translation, if you can read the translation, I can't.
No. Selenic.
There should be a translate button there.
Okay. What's a click there?
Next to it should say translate. Is there not a translate tab? No, that like where it says like and all that. There should be a translate button.
Okay.
No.
See, I've got. Hello James, love you so much. Glad to have your songs. Very nice. Selenic. I'm sorry, I still can't pronounce it.
That's all right. Thank you. Hello, nice to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, so where are we up to?
With this?
Okay, I'll do some. Michaela, 50 stars, thank you. Irene, 300 stars, thank you very much. Hello, Michaela, gracias. Where are we? Good evening to you too. Helen, thank you. Yes, it is. It's quite a comfy couch. It was raining a bit, so we had to bring it home in the rain, so it's still a bit damp down the edges, but we're drying it out. So, let's see. Indeed it is, Angela, that's correct. Hello, Scott. Thank you for watching. Hello, Wendy. Hello, Carla. Carla, once again, thank you for your assistance last night. It was much appreciated. Shinobu Takahashi, hello, from Japan. How are you? I'm looking forward to watching your movie. Oh, thank you very much. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Yes, I very much, very grateful that you guys get to see it at last. I know it was a long time that you people had to wait over there in Japan. I hope you enjoy it as much as Bob and I. We were so honoured to make it and have you people want to see a sequel. Everybody. And I've got to say the 3D billboard in Shinjuku. Oh no, sorry, yeah, in Shinjuku Piccadilly, the 3D billboard of Bob. I'd love to have seen that with my own eyes. But I've got the videos that my lovely friend Yoi Yuna sent me over, so that's okay. Hi James from us. I got all your books and 2 movies. Love them. Hope all is good with you. Thank you, Karina. Katrina. Elsie, 100 stars. Thank you very much. Okay, Amanda. Yes, your first edition. Going to sort that one out for you. I've sent out some first editions. Your one hasn't gone out yet. And that other thing. Anyway, right. So, I think we're up to date there.
We've got different ones.
Pardon?
We've got different ones, haven't we?
No.
So I can't find where.
Down at the bottom, there would be. Anyway, maybe it's just coming up at a different speed on that one. Anyway, so okay, chapter 3, not chapter 4, the Bobmobile. And Chubby's been out for his evening walk, so he's very kind of tired, actually, Mr. Booby. Hey, Chubby Booby, sleepy boy. Hey, sleepy boy. Sleepy boy. Use your ears to cover your eyes. Yeah, sleepy Chubby. Okay, the Bobmobile. It was a balmy early summer afternoon. and I decided to knock off from work early. Yeah, that's right. The sunny weather seemed to have put a smile on everyone's face, and I'd reaped the benefits, selling out my supply of magazines in a few hours. Since I'd started selling the big issue a couple of years earlier, I'd learned to be sensible, so I decided to plough some of the money back into buying some more magazines for the rest of the week. With Bob on my shoulders, I headed over to see Rita, the coordinator on the north side of Islington High Street, on the way back to catch the bus home. From a distance, I could see there she was having an animated conversation with a group of vendors in red bibs who were huddled around something. It turned out to be a bicycle. I got on well with Rita, so I knew that I could gently take the mickey. "What's this, Rita?" I joked. "Riding in the Tour de France?" "Don't think so, James," she smiled. "Someone's just sold it to me in exchange for 10 magazines. Side note, they don't usually take barter for magazines, so she must have been doing someone a favour. I really don't know what to do with it, to be honest. Bikes aren't really my thing." It was obvious the bike wasn't in prime condition. There were hints of rust on the handlebars, and the lights at the front had cracked glass. The paintwork had a few chips and nicks, and just for good measure, one of the mudguards had been snapped in half. Mechanically, though, it looked like it was in reasonable condition. "Is it roadworthy?" I asked Rita. "Think so," she shrugged. He muttered something about one of the sets of brakes needing a bit of attention. That's all. She could see my mind was working overtime. "Why don't you give it a try? See what you think?" "Why not?" I said. "Can you keep an eye on Bob for a second?" I was no Bradley Wiggins, I got no idea who that is, but I had ridden bikes throughout my childhood and again in London. As part of my rehabilitation a few years earlier, I had been briefly involved with a bicycle building course, so I knew a bit about cycle maintenance. It felt good to know some of that training hadn't gone to waste. Handing Bob's lead to Rita, I took the bike and flipped it upside down to inspect it properly. The tyres were inflated, and the chain looked like it was well oiled and moving pretty freely. The seat was a little low for me, so I adjusted it up a little. I then took the bike down onto the road and gave it a quick workout. The gears were a tad on the sticky side, and as Rita had warned me, the front brakes weren't working properly. I had to apply maximum pressure on the handle to get any reaction, and even then, it wasn't enough to bring the bike to a halt. I figured there was a problem with the wire inside the cable. It was easily fixed, I suspected. The rear brakes were fine, however, which was all I needed to know. "What does that mean?" Rita said when I reported all this back to her. "It means it's okay to ride," I said. By now I'd made a decision. "Tell you what, I'll give you a tenner for it," I said. "Really? You sure?" Rita said, a little taken aback. "Yeah," I replied. "Okay, deal. You'll need this as well," she said, fishing around under her trolley and producing a rather battered old black cycle helmet. I'd always been a bit of a hoarder, collecting bits and pieces, and for a while my little flat had been full of all sorts of junk, from mannequins to road signs, but this was different. This was actually one of the first sensible investments I'd made in a while. I knew the bike would be useful back up in Tottenham, where I could use it for short journeys to the shops or the doctors. I'd make the £10 back in saved bus fare in no time. For the longer journey to work at Angel or into central London, I'd carry on taking the bus or the tube. That journey was too treacherous to cycle because of the main roads and junctions. I'd have to negotiate. Some of them were notorious cycling accident spots. It was only then, as I mentally mapped out the journeys that I'd be able to cycle from now on, that it suddenly struck me. How am I going to get this home? Bus drivers don't let bikes on board, and there was no prospect of getting on a tube. I'd be stopped at the barriers immediately. I might get away with taking it on an overground train, but there was no lines that went anywhere near my flats. There's only one thing for it, I told myself. "Okay, Bob, looks like you are riding this home together," I said. Bob had been soaking up the sunshine on the pavement near Rita, but had been keeping half an eye on me throughout. When I climbed on the bike, he tilted his head to one side slightly, as if to say, "What's this contraption? And why are you sitting on top of it?" He looked suspiciously at me again, as I strapped on the cycle helmet, slung my rucksack on my shoulders, and started wheeling the bike towards him. "Come on, mate, climb on board," I said, reaching down to him and letting him climb on my shoulders. "Good luck," Rita said. "Thanks, I think we'll need it," I said. The traffic on Islington High Street was heavy and, as usual, at a virtual standstill. So I walked the bike along the pavement for a while towards Islington Memorial Green. We passed a couple of police officers who gave me a curious look but said nothing. There was no law against riding a bike with a cat on your shoulders. Well, as far as I was aware, there wasn't. I guess if they'd wanted to pull me over, they could have done. They obviously had better things to do with their afternoon. Thank God. I didn't want to cycle along the high street, so I wheeled the bike across a pedestrian crossing. We drew more than our fair share of glances. The looks on people's faces ranged from astonishment to hilarity. More than one person stopped in their tracks, pointing as if we were visitors from another planet. We didn't linger and cut across the corner of the green, past the Waterstones box. We didn't linger and cut across the corner of the green, past the Waterstones bookshop, and turned into the main road to North London, Essex Road. Okay, here we go, Bob, I said, bracing myself to enter the heavy traffic. We were soon weaving our way through the buses, vans, cars and lorries. Bob and I soon got the hang of it. As I focused on staying upright, I could feel him readjusting himself. Rather than standing, he decided sensibly to drape himself around my neck, with his head down low and pointing forward. He clearly wanted to settle down and enjoy the ride. It was mid-afternoon and a lot of children were heading home from school. All along Essex Road, groups of kids in uniform would stop and wave at us. I tried waving back at one point, but lost my balance a little bit, sending Bob sliding down my shoulder. Whoops, sorry mate, won't do that again, I said as we both regained our equilibrium. Progress was steady but a little slow at times. If we had to stop because of traffic, we were instantly shouted at by someone asking for a photo. At one point, 2 teenage schoolgirls jumped out into the road to snap themselves with us. "Oh my God, this is so cute," one of them said, leaning into us heavily as she posed for her photo, that she almost knocked us over. I hadn't ridden a bicycle for a few years, and I wasn't exactly in prime physical condition, so I took a little breather every now and again, attracting a posse of onlookers each time. Most smiled their approval, but a couple shook their heads disapprovingly. "Stupid idiot," I heard one middle-aged guy in a suit say as he strode past us. It didn't feel stupid at all. In fact, it felt rather fun, and I could tell Bob was having a good time. His head was right next to mine, and I could feel him purring contentedly in my ear. We travelled all the way down to Newington Green, and from there towards Kingsland Road, where the road headed down towards Seven Sisters. I had been looking forward to this section. For most of the journey, apart from the couple of little inclines here and there, the road had been fairly flat. At that point, however, I knew that it dropped downhill for a mile or so. I'd be able to freewheel down quite easily. To my delight, I saw there was a dedicated bike lane, which was completely empty. Bob and I were soon flying down the hill, the warm summer air blowing through our hair. "Woohoo! Isn't this great, Bob?" I said at one point. I felt a little bit like Elliot in E.T. Not that I expected us to take off and fly our way back across North London rooftops at any point, obviously, but we must have been clocking close to 20 miles per hour at one point. The traffic in the main lane to our right was gridlocked, and people were winding down their windows to let in some air. Some of the expressions on their faces as we whizzed past them were priceless. A couple of children stuck their heads out of the sunroofs of their cars and shouted at us. A few people just looked in utter disbelief. It was understandable, I suppose. You don't see a ginger cat whizzing down a hill on a bike very often. It only took me about half an hour to get home, which was pretty impressive considering we'd had so many unplanned stops. As we pulled up in the communal area outside the flats, Bob just hopped off my shoulders as if he was disembarking the bus. This was typical of his laid-back attitude to life. He had taken it all in his stride, just another routine day in London. Back in the flat, I spent the rest of the afternoon and evening tinkering with the bike. I'd soon fixed the front brakes and given it a general tune-up. "There you go," I said to Bob as I stood back to admire my handiwork. "I think we've got ourselves a Bobmobile." I couldn't be sure, but I was pretty sure that the look he gave me signalled his approval. We'll be right back in a moment. Be right back and then transition.
Yeah, I know, sorry. I'm just getting this screen.
Mute.
little paw prints you left in my heart, my soul, my life.
Then everyone,
All the world knows the love you shine so bright on me remains
immortal.
And now I reflect, I hold no regrets, for everywhere I go, you are there. Like sunshine pierced the rain, the warmth you radiate shows us the way.
And brightens our day.
Every moment is crystallized in time and here to stay.
Forever
I pray for you. My dreams all came true when I had you there to put on through. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, safe from the storm. And it's long as I hold you close inside. Well, I know that everything will be alright. As the setting sun descends, marmalade hue reminds me of you.
walking home from the show.
'Tis the season, watching family strolling through the snow.
Bringing gifts home.
I sit by the tree, your great legacy. It's all I need on Christmas Eve. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, safe from the storm. And it's long as I hold you close inside. Well, I know that everything will be alright. Yes, I know everything will be alright. Precious little paw prints you left in my heart, my soul, my life.
Then everyone,
All the world knows the love you shine so bright on me remains
immortal.
And now I reflect, I hold no regrets, for everywhere I go, you are there. Like sunshine pierced the rain, the warmth you radiate shows us the way.
brightens our day.
Every moment is crystallized in time and here to stay.
Forever
I pray for you. My dreams all came true when I had you there to put on through. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, safe from the storm. And it's long as I hold you close inside. What I know, that everything will be alright. As the setting sun descends, marmalade hue reminds me of you.
walking home from the show.
'Tis the season, watching family strolling through the snow.
Bringing gifts home.
I sit by the tree, your great legacy. It's all I need on Christmas Eve. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, safe from the storm. And it's long as I hold you close inside. What I know, that everything will be alright. Yes, I know everything will be alright. Precious little paw prints you left in my heart, my soul, my life.
Then everyone
All the world knows the love you shine so bright on me remains.
immortal.
And now I reflect, I hold no regrets. For everywhere I go, you are there. Like sunshine pierced the rain, the warmth you radiate shows us the way.
And brightens our day.
Every moment is crystallized in time and here to stay.
Forever
I pray for you. My dreams all came true when I had you there to put on through. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, safe from the storm. the setting sun descends, marmalade hue reminds me of you.
Walking home from the show.
'Tis the season, watching family strolling through the snow.
Bringing gifts home.
I sit by the tree, your great legacy. It's all I need on Christmas Eve. 'Cause it's cold as I knew it got outside. You were there to keep me warm, safe from the storm. And as long as I hold you close inside, well, I know that everything will be alright. Yes, I know everything will be alright. Precious little paw prints you left in my heart, my soul, my life.
Then everyone.
All the world knows the love you shine so bright on me remains.
Immortal.
And now I reflect, I hold no regrets.
Get the camera straight, quick. It's all over the place. Sorry guys, we had because of where the camera is, it's right in front of the door because it's the only place that it sort of looks good, so it got knocked by someone coming in. It's
That one is-
It's squiff. You need to point it more this way. This way. Yeah, that way a bit, sorry. And then down a bit. Down a little more. Yeah, this way a bit.
What? That way?
Yeah, that's it there, perfect.
Yeah.
Chubby booby, Chubby, he's asleep. Okay, alright guys, straight back into it. Okay, so, people often ask me how Bob and I communicate with each other. It's simple, I usually answer. He has his own language and I've learnt to understand it. It must sound far-fetched, but it's true. His main means of communication is body language. He has a range of signals that tell me exactly what he is feeling, and more to the point, what he wants at any particular moment. For instance, if he wants to go to the toilet when we are walking around the streets, he starts grumbling and growling a little bit. He then starts fidgeting on my shoulder. I don't need to look at him to know what he's up to. He's scouting around for a spot with some dirt where he can do his business. If, on the other hand, he is walking on his lead and gets tired, he lets out a light low-pitched grumble or moan come growl. He also refuses to walk an inch. He just looks at me as if to say, "Come on mate, pick me up, I'm worn out." If he ever gets scared, he backs up on my shoulders. Or if he's standing on the floor, he performs a reverse maneuver so he's standing in between my legs in position, in case I need to pick him up. To his credit, it is rare that anything frightens him. The sound of an ambulance or a police car going by with their sirens blaring barely bothers him at all. He's very used to it. Living and working in central London, the only thing that freaks him out a little is the pressurised air brakes on big lorries and buses. The psh. Whenever he hears that loud hissing sound, he recoils and looks scared. On bonfire nights, he also gets a little bit nervous about the loud bangs and explosions. but he generally enjoys watching the fireworks, bright sparkling in the sky from the window of my flat. There are other signals too. For instance, I can tell a lot about his mood from the way he moves his tail. If he is snoozing or asleep, his tail is still and quiet, of course, but at other times he wags it around using different movements. The most common wag is a gentle side-to-side movement, rather like a windscreen wiper on its slower setting. This is his contentment wag. Where are we? I spent endless hours sitting around London with him and have seen him doing it when he is being entertained or intrigued by something. The lady who tried to steal him at Angel hadn't been the first to misread this movement. Sorry guys, I'm getting a call. We'll be right back. By the way, if you're enjoying the show, please make a contribution at PayPal.me/StreetCatBob. We'll be back in a moment.
Thanks.
Mute.
Precious little paw prints, you left them on my heart, my soul, my life.
Then everyone
All the world knows the love you shine so bright on me remains.
immortal.
And now I reflect, I hold no regrets. For everywhere I go, you are there. Like sunshine pierced the rain, the warmth you radiate shows us the way.
And brightens our day.
Every moment is crystallized in time and here to stay.
Forever
I pray for you.
Okay, sorry about that. Just had to check on that call. Others had made the same mistake and misconstrued it as a sign of anger. Bob doesn't get angry, but he signals with a very different tail. Bob does get angry, he does, but he signals that with a very different tail movement, in which he flicks it around, a bit like a fly swatter. Very random. There are subtler messages too. If, for instance, he is worried about me, he comes up really close, as if to examine me. If I am feeling under the weather, he often sidles up and listens to my chest. He does a lot of loving things like that. He has the habit of coming up and rubbing against me, purring. He also rubs his face on my hand, tilting his head so that I can scratch behind his ear. Animal behaviourists and zoologists are entitled to their opinions, but to me this is Bob's way of telling me that he loves me. Of course, the most frequent message he wants to get across relates to food. If he wants me to come to the kitchen to feed him, for instance, he goes around banging on the doors. He is so clever, he could easily unpick one of the child locks I've had to fit specifically to keep him out. So I always have to go and check. By the time I get there, he has always removed himself to the spot by the radiator in the corner where he'll be wearing his most innocent looking. But that doesn't last for long, and he'll soon be pleading for a snack. Bob is nothing if not persistent, and won't leave me alone until he gets what he wants. He can get quite frustrated if I choose to ignore him, and tries all sorts of tricks, from tapping me on the knee to giving me the Puss in Boots look. There is no end to his creativity when it comes to filling a gap in his tummy. For a while, his biggest challenge was distracting me while I played computer games on the second-hand Xbox I picked up in a charity shop. Most of the time, Bob was quite happy to watch me playing. He was fascinated by certain games, especially motor racing ones. He would stand beside me, experiencing each bend and maneuver. On one occasion, I could have sworn I saw his body swaying as we took a particularly sharp hairpin bend together. He drew the line at action games with a lot of shooting, however. If I was playing one of these, he would carry himself off to another corner of the room. If the game or I ever got too loud, he'd lift up his head and look across. The message was simple: turn it down, please. Can't you see I'm trying to snooze? I could get really wrapped up in a game. It wasn't unheard of for me to start a game at 9 p.m. and not finish until the wee small hours. But Bob didn't appreciate this and would do his damnedest to get my attention, especially when he was hungry. There were times, however, when I was immune to his charms, so he took more drastic measures. I was playing a game with Belle one night when Bob appeared. He'd had dinner a couple of hours earlier and had decided that he needed a snack. He went through his usual attention-seeking routine, making a selection of noises, dragging himself across my feet, rubbing himself against my legs, but we were both so heavily involved in reaching the next level of the game that we didn't respond at all. He sloped off for a moment, circling the area where the TV and Xbox were plugged in. After a moment, he moved in towards the control console and pressed his head against the big touch-sensitive button in the middle. "Bob, what are you up to?" I asked innocently, still too engrossed in the game to twig what he was doing. A moment later, the screen went black and the Xbox started powering down. He had applied enough pressure to the button so that he'd switched it off. We had been halfway through a really tricky level of the game, so I should have been furious with him, but we both sat there with the same expression of disbelief on our faces. "Did he just do what I think he did?" Bella asked me. Well, I saw it too. "So he must have, but I don't believe it." Bob stood there looking triumphant. His expression said it all. "So how are you going to ignore me now?" So if you're enjoying this reading tonight, guys, a contribution via paypal.me/streetcatbob is gratefully appreciated. If you want to contribute Facebook stars, that's awesome. We get them 60 days after the end of the month, or is it 90? But yeah, any contributions help. AJ earns her keep out of this as well. This is how I pay her. And yeah, Chubby gets treats when he's awake. Oh, did you hear that little squeak he made then? Oh, did I? Oh, stretchy Chubby. Alright, let's see how we're going there. Oh. Okay. We didn't always rely on signals and body language. There are times when we have a strange kind of telepathy. As if we both know what the other one is thinking. I didn't know what I was reading. Or doing. We've also learned to alert each other to danger. A few days after I acquired the bike, I decided to take Bob to a local park that had just been given a bit of a makeover. By now he was completely comfortable riding around on my shoulders and had become more and more confident, leaning in and out of the corners like a motorbike rider. The park turned out to be a bit of a disappointment. Apart from a few new benches and shrubs and a decent playground for young children, it seemed nothing much had changed. Bob was keen to explore nevertheless. If I felt it was safe, I occasionally let him off his lead so that he could enjoy himself scrambling around in the overgrowth. While he did his business, I had just done so today and was sitting reading a comic and soaking up a few rays of sunshine when in the distance I heard the barking of a dog. Uh-oh, I thought. At first I guessed it was a couple of streets away, but as the barking grew louder, I realised it was a lot closer than that. In the distance I saw a very large and very menacing looking German Shepherd running towards the entrance of the park. The dog was no more than 150 yards away and was off its leash. I could tell it was looking for trouble. "Bob," I shouted at the overgrowth, where I knew he was busy conducting his call of nature. "Bob, come here." For a moment I was panic-stricken, but as so often in the past, we were on the same wavelength, and his head soon popped out of the bushes. I was waving my arms at him, encouraging him to join me, without making too much fuss. I didn't want the dog to spot me. Bob understood what was happening immediately, and bolted out of the bushes. He wasn't afraid of dogs, but he picked his battles wisely. Judging by the noise the German Shepherd was making, this wasn't a dog with which we wanted to pick a fight. Bob's bright ginger coat wasn't exactly hard to spot amidst the greenery, and the dog soon began accelerating towards us, barking even more fiercely. For a moment I had a terrible feeling that Bob had left it too late, so I grabbed the bike and got ready to ride it into the firing line if necessary. I knew if the German Shepherd intercepted him, Bob could be in serious trouble. As so often in the past, however, I'd underestimated him. He sprinted across the grass and arrived as I crouched down on one knee. In one seamless move, I flipped him onto my shoulders, jumped straight onto the bike, and with Bob standing on my shoulders, hit the pedals and began cycling out of the park. The frustrated German Shepherd pursued us for a short time, at one point running alongside as we sped down the street. I could hear Bob hissing at him. I couldn't see his face, but I wouldn't have been surprised at all if he was taunting him. "What are you going to do about it now, tough guy?" he was probably saying. As I hit the main road back towards our block of flats, I looked around to see our nemesis receding into the distance, where he'd been joined by his owner, a big burly guy in a black jacket and jeans. He was struggling to get the dog back on his lead, but that was his problem, not mine. "That was a close one, Bob," I said. "Thank goodness for the Bobmobile." I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, any contributions for our performance tonight is most gratefully appreciated. We will be back tomorrow night with the next chapter, The Odd Couple. So we have also got a list of stuff that's going for sale. AJ's going to make that list and we'll have it up for tomorrow. And so from Chubby and AJ and myself, that's all from Meow.
Bye.
That's all, folks.
Okay. Be right back. Or no?
Going offline. Mute it.